If you run cloud migration, remote support, or agent-style infrastructure, today's priority is control plane risk. The most urgent item in today's NDD feed is CVE 2026-53470 affecting Red Hat Migration Planner OVA image URL exposure. NDD rates it critical with CVSS 9.6. The practical impact is that trusted operational tooling may expose data, tokens, or authority that attackers can use to move beyond one application. Patch first where these tools touch production, credentials, or administrators. Here are the confirmed facts. For CVE 2026-53470, NDD says, a flaw was found in Migration Planner. An authenticated attacker could exploit an improper access control vulnerability in the /API/v1/sources/ID/image URL endpoint. This flaw allows the attacker to bypass an ownership check and obtain pre-signed S3 URLs for Open Virtual Appliance, OVA, images belonging to other users. Consequently, the attacker can download OVA images containing sensitive information, such as long-lived agent JSON web tokens, JWTs, and source configurations, potentially leading to unauthorized access and modification of the victim's source. This matters because migration tooling often stores source configuration, agent identifiers, and access paths that defenders do not treat like user-facing applications. If your organization uses affected Red Hat Migration Planner components, follow Red Hat guidance, review object access logs for unexpected image URL creation or downloads, and rotate agent JSON web tokens or source credentials if exposure is possible. The second item is CVE 2026-50563, CVE 2026-50563 critical vulnerability. NDD summary: Fission is an open-source, Kubernetes native serverless framework that simplifies the deployment of functions and applications on Kubernetes. Prior to version 1.24.0, Fission's container executor path lets a tenant supply function.spec.podspec directly. The executor merges it into the executor build podspec and creates a deployment whose pods run the user's container image. This issue has been patched in version 1.24.0. The lesson is simple: authenticated is not the same as authorized. A user or token may be real, but that does not mean it should access another customer's object, delete shared data, or trigger a privileged route. Security teams should look for unexpected destructive requests, source changes, agent changes, and assessment changes, then confirm backups and recovery procedures before an incident forces the test. The third story is CVE 2026-50564, CVE 2026-50564 critical vulnerability. NDD reports, Fission is an open-source, Kubernetes native serverless framework that simplifies the deployment of functions and applications on Kubernetes. Prior to version 1.24.0, Fission's environment CRD exposes spec.runtime.podspec and spec.builder.podspec, which are merged into the Kubernetes pod specs for runtime and builder pods. The merge logic propagated host network, host PID, host IPC, container privileged, and service account name from the user-supplied podspec with no filtering, and environment validate performed no security-relevant checks on these fields. This issue has been patched in version 1.24.0. Remote support and identity systems deserve extra attention because they are trusted by design. A technician session or accepted identity claim can reach sensitive systems quickly. Apply the vendor update, verify OIDC or identity configuration, and review recent sessions for unusual users, timing, geography, or activity that does not match support tickets. One more critical item is CVE 2026-50566, CVE 2026-50566 critical vulnerability. NDD says, Fission is an open-source, Kubernetes native serverless framework that simplifies the deployment of functions and applications on Kubernetes. Prior to version 1.24.0, a tenant with environments.fission.io create/update RBAC can run privileged/allow privilege escalation/dangerous capability containers in the Fission function or builder namespace, scheduled under the executor's high privilege service account, enabling container sandbox escape, host file system and network access, and potential node and cluster level compromise. This issue has been patched in version 1.24.0. This is relevant to the AI and automation era because node pairing, reconnect logic, and approval scope are exactly the kinds of trust boundaries teams are now building into agent platforms and internal automation. So what did you do today? Inventory exposed migration tools, remote support platforms, node or agent systems, and any service that can read tokens or manage machines. Patch according to vendor advisories. Review logs for pre-signed URL access, destructive API calls, technician logins, and node reconnection events. Rotate secrets if images, service accounts, or agent tokens may have been exposed. And for developers, add route level and object level authorization checks around every privileged operation. The defensive takeaway is clear: control planes create business value because they automate trusted work. That is exactly why their trust boundaries must be verified, logged, and kept least privileged.